always your husband's fault when you start 90% of all arguments? How is it always a man's fault when every single argument in most relationships is started by women? Can someone explain that to me? It is not your husband or your boyfriend's problem if you don't know how to deal with conflict when you start conflict. And once you understand that the majority of women start arguments and then flip it to make it a man's fault, it helps you understand how delusional a lot of these women are. But no, seriously, your husband or your boyfriend is not your dad. When you give the silent treatment and expect to still get your way, he doesn't have to put up with that. When you make up all these false bullshit and start fake crying in front of him, expecting sympathy, he's not your dad. He doesn't have to give you any kind of empathy or sympathy in problems that you created. Your husband or boyfriend doesn't have to tolerate disrespect. He doesn't have to have all of these rules put upon him that he can't have a guy's night, he can't have hobbies, you have to go through his phone all the time. But then when he tells you no on a girl's night or that you can't have any money, now it's a problem. You don't get to lie. You don't get to be disrespectful. You don't get to have a guy best friend and then have your hand out expecting him to pay your way or put gas in your car or still be respectful if you're not reciprocating that same level of respect. Like, why is it always his fault if you're the one always starting arguments? Why is it always his fault if he has to go through your phone? Why is it always his fault if you're not being honest and upfront with him and you're being sneaky? He's not your dad. He doesn't have to fall for this bullshit. He doesn't have to fall for the crocodile tears. And the tantrums might have worked with your dad, but they're not going to work with your husband or boyfriend. Some of you have so much delusion because you swear that it's everybody else's fault, even though you're the one starting the problems 99.9% of the time. How is that man supposed to still want to do shit for you if you find every little thing to bitch about? How is he supposed to still show up in a relationship when nothing he ever does makes you happy? When you're treating him like shit and he's giving you back the same energy, that doesn't make him a narcissist. That doesn't make him abusive. That doesn't make him someone that needs therapy. That is a man standing on business and respecting his freaking boundaries because he's a human being that still deserves the same level of respect. How is he supposed to be the best version of himself for you when you expect this princess treatment and you use it as an excuse to treat him like shit? Newsflash, the princess treatment is bullshit. Y'all made that shit up so you didn't have to have any accountability and you could cry to your husbands like you do your dads and expect the same forgiveness. Your husband or boyfriend does not have to accept your past trauma. He is not the one there to fix you and mold you and help you and cater to you like your dad did. It's a freaking partnership, and some of y'all are acting like 12-year-old little brats expecting to get your way all of the time, even though everything in your relationship is started because you're having a tantrum or you're on your period or you're upset about not eating or you're just a girl and you want to just gaslight that man into being treated like shit because you don't actually know how to be a good partner in a relationship. Okay, bye.